that just the power of like bonds. So like bonds that people create. For instance, I was actually asked on Saturday to be a groom's in one of my friend's upcoming weddings, like a year from now. But it's just weird because I had known him since second grade, and I had known the bride since first grade. So, but at the same time, him and I and her, we used to be super close, and at the same time, you know, things happen. You kind of drift apart. But he texted a couple our usual group of friends and said, "Hey, can we all meet up on Saturday night?" And we did. And my other friend and I were like, "Oh, maybe she's pregnant. And that's all he's gonna tell us." Like, but and he comes back with like 4 different boxes, you know, like just for the potential groomsmen. And so that's how I was kind of surprised of how like strong like human bonds can be, even after a year or two of not being so close anymore. And so, but
well, that means you made an impact on his life in some way, and
yeah.
he remembers that, and he wants you to be a part of his.
I mean, I would have been happy with just an invite. I didn't tell him
Yeah.
that, obviously, but I was ecstatic and I was over the moon. It honestly made my week when he gave me the box, and I was like, okay, like
That's really cool.
yeah. So
What piques your curiosity, Laura?
Okay, I feel like this has been said plenty of times before, but I'm really curious about death. I'm not necessarily, I'm not afraid of dying at all, really, but the thought of death is so sudden, you know? When I was younger and I used to watch movies, I still watch movies, but no, I mean,
When you saw Romeo and Juliet, yeah.
no, I mean,
I mean, I would have been happy with just an invite. I didn't tell him
Yeah.
that, obviously, but I was ecstatic and I was over the moon. It honestly made my week when he gave me the box, and I was like, okay, like
That's really cool.
yeah. So
What piques your curiosity, Laura?
okay, I feel like this has been said plenty of times before, but I'm really curious about death. I'm not necessarily, I'm not afraid of dying at all, really, but the thought of death is so sudden, you know? When I was younger and I used to watch movies, I still watch movies, but no, I mean,
When you saw Romeo and Juliet, yeah.
no, I mean, I've noticed it since I was younger. Pretty much is that they'll just kill off a random character, you know, just a random civilian. And as a little kid, I would just be like, oh my gosh, like that person had a childhood, you know? Like they had a mother and a father and like people who loved them and like they probably went to school and like they did all this stuff and they just got thrown off a bridge and that's it, you know? Like their story just ends just like that. And I don't know, it drives me crazy because, I don't know, it's just.
It piques your curiosity, Eddie.
people, it's kind of a broad statement, but looking back on my previous majors, psychology and anthropology, like I was just thinking about that today. I was like, what really piques my curiosity is this something like what Brian said earlier. It's just like, what is this person's life, and like, what do they see, and it just. So yeah, that's pretty much what kind of piques my curiosity. I'm always inquisitive, and I try to not to be so, like, questioning or interrogating people when I first meet them, because like even though I want to get to know them,
Right.
I have to like find that line to like, okay,
So just
enough
don't
talk.
ask the provocative question, the miser provocative
Well, I
question.
mean,
Are
you know,
happy
like
in your
not
life?
right away at least, maybe like maybe a month or I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just
happy.
In your life, yeah.
oh my gosh, yeah, but
They do that with commercials, though.
yeah, I mean they do a commercial, but at the same time, so that's why I always have to check myself before I just kind of like come off as creepy, so to speak. So no, I'll be honest.
Well, there's nothing wrong with asking in-depth questions, but I see what you mean, that you
I have to
don't-
monitor it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have to like really take it in moderation. Like, okay, like this is enough questions. Say bye, and basically,
Yeah.
honestly, after meeting every one of you, I probably had an internal conversation and say, like, okay, talk about 3 things and then move on, so you don't seem to, you know. But yeah, that's what piques my curiosity.
Okay. Identify 3 fears, Laura.
I think I fear the future, and I fear failing, and I'm also really afraid of crickets.
Well, they tend to not go away, so.
Cell phone company?
What?
No, she's talking about bugs.
It's a little.
Like Jiminy.
He's not that bad.
Opera from Bug's Life. He's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Well, we had lions
I'm
and
just making
tigers
an
and bears, so.
example.
What about you, Eddie?
I think the first fear I would have to say would just, basically like being so, or harboring so much hatred. A lot of people are surprised when they like actually get to know that about me. It's just, I have a lot of energy, whether it's positive or negative. It depends on how I convert it. So I try my best to really keep positive about everything. And at the same time, I still feel like that there's still like this. I mean, I'm not saying I'm consumed by this hatred and I hate everyone, etc. But that's not true. But there's this type of feeling that sometimes like I'll just like be like, oh, you know, why are you hiding that you have hatred for someone? And I just want to be consumed by that feeling of hatred. If that makes sense. It's kind of hard to explain. Like, it's not like I hate people, but it's that fear of having that hatred basically kind of just take over.
Or become a virus within you or something.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's the first one. Second one is, I would say this is the most like irrational fear of mine would be not being able to protect my loved ones. How I was raised was to always be an older brother figure. So like whenever I see someone that I care about just in a vulnerable state, it kind of like, it takes me aback and just makes me feel so helpless. And like, it's a feeling that unfortunately can't be shaken. It can only be talked about or expressed somewhere else. Like that's why I'm so open about if I feel vulnerable, because so anyways, that's one of my fears. And the last fear is, this is getting super deep, but just is to like letting someone in to really get to know me like to about 97%. I'm an open book, you know, like I know most of you pretty well, so you know that I am an open book. But what I always tell people, what I told my past therapist when I was up at UCLA, I said, how I portray myself to people is just, once you get to know me, it's 90%, you'll get to see like 90% of me, like that's it. And then there are the few people who I'll let 95% in, like it would be my younger brother and you know, like really close friends. But what petrifies me the most is probably like just letting someone in completely and just saying, okay, this is who I am, like how I see myself, to let them see 100% of that from my point of view. Like I've always.
So afraid of revealing yourself completely?
Yeah, I mean, just to the point where, again, I try to be a positive and very like playful, lighthearted person. At the same time, I want to be the person that people can come to. At the same time, I'm afraid to reveal like my not necessarily my true self, but like my really deep-seated, much more heavier like that's only been, to be honest, like I said, I've only exposed myself 95% to like my brother and maybe 3 or 4 of my really good friends that I've known for years. And I mean, my therapist is probably like the only exception, but that's because or my former therapist, because you know after I graduated, I don't have her anymore. But it was just, she knew everything, because obviously if I didn't tell her something, it would just not work well for me. So yeah, just that would be my last fear, so to speak. So.
Laura, what action can you take to eliminate any of the fears you enumerated? I mean, crickets, I don't know what we can do about them, but...
No, I have a story for that. Like, no, I guess for the future, you know, the future is inevitable. I mean, it's literally going by as we speak, you know. So, you know, the best thing about the future, though, is that it comes one day at a time. So, I don't know, I guess you kind of have to deal with it one day at a time, too. So it's not that bad. It's just kind of, it's one of those things that it's so uncertain that it just fearful.
So dealing with it, the action you could take is just accepting that one day at a time?
Yeah, I mean, just taking it in one day at a time is how I'll get by.
Okay.
And then as far as failing, I mean, there's 2 ways to handle failing. You know, when I was in middle school, I was more so focused on, you know, if I didn't try, I couldn't fail. So I didn't really try very hard. But now that I'm in college, I kind of have the opposite philosophy, which isn't necessarily as good, because, you know, I have to put my all into every single thing that I do, you know, just because I cannot fail if I try my hardest. So
well, I mean, actually, I think that's a good approach, because if you don't give your all, you're not fulfilling the potential that you have. So, you know.
And I mean,
Even if your dad doesn't understand and is overprotective and didn't understand that you had to work all day and
I think, you know what it is that as far as that goes, I have like a really good relationship with my parents. I bet people say that all the time, but like I've never been grounded before in my whole life. Like we barely ever fight. It's just kind of like, because I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters, and I was always that kid that just, she's fine.
Wow.
No, I mean,
you don't have to worry about her.
It was literally, I mean, I don't think they ever really yelled at my sisters either, but it was more of just like, you know, like, it's like, we don't have to worry. Like, my mom was straight up said, she's like, you know, I'm kind of worried about your siblings' future, but as far as you go, like, I don't have any problem with you moving out of the house someday. Like, I know it's gonna happen, but,
Well, because they understand, respect, and recognize that you work hard at anything you want to achieve.
yeah.
So.
No, I think it just goes back to,
Yeah.
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 I think it just goes back to, like, they know that they can trust me so much that they care about me that much.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially, I mean, I live in Irvine. It's like, we live there because it's the safest city in the world, you know?
It is?
Sorry, in the country.
In the country at least, especially. Yeah.
Really?
But it probably is in the world too. I mean, it's like, Irvine, it's so weird. Like, when I was driving late at night, there was a bunch of cars in Mission Viejo, and then as soon as I got to Irvine, everybody just disappeared. I was like, this is so strange.
I find that scary myself.
Like,
but,
It wasn't that late. I mean,
everyone goes to
after,
bed by midnight.
everything in Irvine pretty much closes at like 9.
Oh, yeah, that's
So,
true.
unless you're at the movie theaters
Or
or
In
at
and Out.
Gilbert Land.
Or
Yeah, yeah.
Or yeah.
Or
Everything else, I mean, like, businesses close at 9, and everybody goes home, goes to bed. Like, and that's just Irvine. So I guess
So
part
no
of
one
it
can
is
get into too much mischief.
but
in
they don't
Irvine.
realize that. You know, they still, even having raised me the way that they raised me to have good morals and to do the right thing, they still are afraid, I guess.
Sure,
that-
of course.
that
It's
I'm
a-
gonna screw
yeah.
up, you know.
Yeah. No, yeah, I understand. It's a parent's concern.
And then for crickets, when I was in the 3rd grade, like, I used to have no problem with crickets. My sister's a tomboy, so when we were growing up, we used to have like, you know, pet crickets and just feed them Cheerios and like.
Oh my god.
My parents didn't
Did
know.
they
but
propagate these crickets after
See,
having all
that's-
those Cheerios?
That's what happened. Is that in the 3rd grade, I took this summer school class that was like critters or something. It was the 3rd grade, and we got to take home all these little like things. You know, like I remember we got a bunch of ladybugs, and we got like goldfish. And one of the things we got was a pet cricket. And you know, my brother and I took care of this cricket, but we didn't know that the cricket was pregnant. So all of a sudden, like.
Baby
You know,
crickets.
yeah, part of me is freaking out because, you know, there's crickets everywhere. Plus, like, now I have to deal with being a 9-year-old grandmother because, like, my cricket just gave birth. And like ever since then, like, I can't do crickets. My garage has a bunch of crickets, and if it's nighttime, like, they all come out. And if I have to get something from the garage at night, like, I'll call my dog over. I'll be like, Riley, go first, go first. And he'll just look at me like, what is she doing? And he's
They
this little,
sense that you're the alpha mama cricket.
He's like, my dog is
Alpha
this
female.
little, he's
Yeah.
a little corgi that would never hurt anything, you know? So he thinks that he's just going in the garage to like get food or something, but you're protecting me.
It's very interesting.
And I guess to get over that, it's probably not gonna happen. But what can I
You'll
say?
always send a dog first.
I'm fine with spiders, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
once my dog passes away, I'll just have to get another one to protect me.
Wow! That's a real way to honor your dog's death. That's hard.
Well, that's a practical view.
No,
It's a practical view, hey, and as long as you, like, you know, adopt from a shelter, hey.
No,
you
yeah,
save
he's
life,
from the
so
shelter.
There you
And
go,
my
yeah.
dog, he's like my best friend, you know? And like that's another one of my fears is my dog dying, you know?
Yeah.
Because, and I know it's gonna happen.
You said that so nonchalant. If my dog dies, let's get another one.
That's
Yeah,
not
it's like saying if my husband